Welcome to the Putting Youth on the Map, all about Youth Wellbeing Index and Youth Vulnerability. What does Putting Youth on the Map do? Putting Youth on the Map provides data maps for youth and adults working to ensure youth well-being in California. You can see indices measuring youth well-being and severe isolation from support, view index analysis by sex, race, and ethnicity, explore data maps on whether people have enough money, suspension truancy rates, transportation access, young adult voting patterns, and more. You can also print maps and download the data. You can find resources to help youth and community advocates use data maps. And we have links to participatory mapping tools that help put you on the map. Putting Youth on the Map and its host, the UC Davis Center for Regional Change, provide two types of index maps: the Youth Wellbeing Index and the Youth Vulnerability Index. Youth Wellbeing and Vulnerability. Youth Wellbeing and Vulnerability. This presentation describes two index maps: Youth Wellbeing Index and Youth Vulnerability Index. These indices are summaries of social data about wellness and vulnerability of youth in California. We break down each index for males, females, and youth of different races and ethnicities. Data types were selected based on a review of research on youth well-being, review of other indices of youth well-being, and data availability. The Youth Wellbeing Index measures overall youth wellness in school districts using information about education, health, social relationships, and community involvement. This index shows a score out of a possible 100%. When we talk about health, we are looking at physical fitness, substance use avoidance, and feeling safe in school and out of school. In education, we look at high school graduation rates and university readiness rates. In community involvement, we look at group participation and helping others in the community. And for social relationships, we look at positive relationships with adults and peers. The data sources. The index uses three main data sources, and those are the U.S. Census Bureau, the California Department of Education, and the California Healthy Kids Survey. Each of these presents limitations, so potential weakness, that might bias the data. So what's missing? While the Youth Wellbeing Index covers some core elements of well-being, we are unable to include other important elements in this index, such as having positive relationships with parents and other family members, support to develop a strong ethnic and cultural identity. The Youth Vulnerability Index assesses likely youth isolation from support of well-being. It uses the measures of not completing high school, dropout rates or push-out rates, very low family incomes, so young people living in high poverty, teen birth rates, and entry into the foster care system. How the Youth Vulnerability Index score works. Each place receives a score for each indicator. A 1 means that you met the benchmark. 2, that you're somewhat below the benchmark, within 90% of the benchmark. 3, that you're below the benchmark, between 50 to 90% of the benchmark. And 4, far below the benchmark, less than 50% of the benchmark. Places receive scores on a scale of 1 to 4. In high vulnerability places, youth experience relatively high rates in all 4 conditions, linked to isolation from supports for well-being. What's missing? While the Youth Vulnerability Index measures some conditions linked with having inadequate support, we still are missing some key data points. We don't have information regarding teen fatherhood, so the impacts of teen births on fathers. We don't have rates of incarceration and reentry for young people. We also don't have information identifying as LGBTQI, and we also don't have enough information around young people who have an unauthorized immigration status. Data limitations overall. In some places, we do not provide analysis because data are missing or are highly unreliable, so potentially less accurate. These few places will appear in white or gray on the map. If you click on such places, a blank pop-up box will appear instead of charts and graphs you would normally see. Places where analysis provided should be used with caution due to their potential for less accuracy are marked with an asterisk.